Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the LunarCounseling podcast. I'm Kiara Brown, a licensed professional counselor, EMDR trained therapist, certified hypnotherapist, and your host. Today, I am really honored to welcome Dr. Robb Kelly. The show, Dr. Kelly is a naturally respected recovery expert who focuses on healing the root causes of addiction, looking beyond symptoms to the deeper stories, experiences, and trauma that shape recovery. He has over 2 decades of experience. He has worked across numerous treatment centers, prisons, hospitals, and universities. He has been on The Doctors, Good Morning Texas, and he's also the host of Breakthrough Addiction podcast and the author of Daddy, Daddy, Please Stop Drinking, where he shared his own powerful recovery journey with honesty and heart. What I really appreciate about Dr. Kelly's work is how human and compassionate his approach is, blending neuroscience, trauma-informed care, and lived experience in a way that truly makes people where they are. So let's dive on in. So thank you, Dr. Kelly, for joining us.
It's great to be here. Well,
So I asked everyone, what brought you to the therapy world?
alcoholic addicts back in the day, families rife with alcoholism. I became homeless. I lost my children, my house, my car, everything, business. Parents won't speak to me, family disown me. And after 14 months on the streets, I managed to get off the streets. And it was right there and then I realized that I can spend the rest of my life helping other people, not only with alcohol and drugs, but depression, anxiety, PTSD, Alzheimer's, anything to do with sight to lead a better life. And we've been doing that for, 25, 30 years, but over 11,000 patients so far. Yeah, I love what I do because I do what I love.
Amazing. So I can only imagine, like you said, like your family is rife with addiction as well. It sounds like you didn't really have an example of how to get through it. So what was like your catalyst for getting out of it?
I had a few spiritual awakening on the streets. Back in my day, so late 70s, early 80s, nobody knew anything about alcoholism. Still don't, a lot of people. So yeah, it was this thing that why can't you stop drinking and you have kids taking off you, isolate you, lost it. Why can't you stop drinking? Why can't you stop drinking? And I would stop drinking for a week or 10 days at the most. But then I'd always go back to alcohol. So alcohol was my problem. I also took drugs, but it wasn't like, I didn't take drugs for some reason and I took them recreationally, but alcohol was my being. So I was lost in this world where nobody knows what a suffering is. Even the doctor just started trusting children, just started, it just didn't work. I knew that there was a lot more down around alcohol and addiction. And I could say, 25, 30 years ago, I also think it got there because I can't managed to get off and do a started real research. Came to America 20 years ago to do a tour, 3 weeks, and never went back home and started to create what we know now as the luxury brew. Yeah, just focusing on the stuff people don't know about alcoholism rather than what they do. Definition of alcoholism in addiction is someone who takes alcohol or some dependent on alcoholism. Alcohol's essentially alcoholism. The same. Any other addiction. Okay, boy, doesn't make any differences. Problems process. The childhood trauma.
They're kind of like the pioneer, like almost, I don't want to age you, but like the grandfather of the addiction research to kind of what led everyone else into that field. Cool. What do you think that's like the biggest finding from all your research that you didn't know beforehand?
Alcoholics are born and drug addicts indeed. So alcoholics are born with traces of it, and trace the basic level. So when we're born to we take the first drink, it starts a ticking time clock. So the hypothalamus basal ganglia and amygdala differ in alcoholics and any other addiction. And then addicts are the addicted personality. So over 90% of people that come to us a drug problem start in the doctor's office. So they both show up the same, they both look the same to the layman. And come to the neuroscience behind it all, it does get fully bigger. And that's important to us because it mainly affects the hypothalamus in us in an important way. So he tells us from birth we have to eat through, drink water to survive. That's it. He does a great job. Unfortunately, it's an alcoholic. Big stamina to hypothalamus. So he tells us that for a bit until we start drinking. Crossover. What happens is the hypothalamus tells the alcoholic to take alcohol to survive. Now, let's think about it for a second. That makes it true because my kids on my job, it didn't make any difference what I lost because the things telling me if you don't drink alcohol, you will die. Even we goes to the contrary. But that's what happens. That's our biggest findings. Oh my goodness, what here? And that we're proud of that research, proud of pushing alcoholism in neuroscience, and then finding out we have a 98% success rate. It's in trouble, weight loss, passion, and all the stuff that we need today. So that's probably the biggest find.
It's amazing. So like, on your recovery journey, what do you think who was like your biggest supporter, like to help you get over it?
So at the beginning, nobody else knew. Got the streets, and that guy coming down the streets, spiritual weight commute, started my own little journey. Today is people expect to say, oh my God, my biggest reason why I get out of bed today is the people that I come across. I never get sick. I never get sick of watching the light come on somebody's eyes because they tried it well, been everywhere. Come here and start to get the light back. And we perform miracles. We're the same here. And yeah, I have a lot, my wife's in an honesty. We have 4 businesses, so she helps with all of that. So we have this marriage we create and say we can't work or maybe wife as well. Our answer is self-do. I'm married for almost 11 years and we still laugh and joke and gas in the bath, do some things and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't have a lot of people around me. As in, I don't have any close friends. All my friends are ladies, women, inspire me and vice versa. It's all things with my life as well. I'm just like, But yeah, it's just, we do what we do and then we love it, obviously. And we want to say, well,
Just like it's the eternal joy of like just helping other ones, like just your driving force from now on. Like you just can carry the torch for people like in the darkest time of their lives. And you help them like no, like this is not forever bleeding and we can get you out of it.
yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
Yeah. That's so amazing. So you said like your current wife, you guys have been married for 11 years. How did that relationship like form out of all of this?
So when I first met Janet, my wife, at a coffee shop, Dallas, Texas, we met an app. It turned out quickly, it turned to her brother committing suicide because there was an alcoholic. And that's why it started as something common. And obviously I told her from the get-go about my deal, which is really funny because the first date was at the coffee shop where we just saying hi to each other. And then I texted for a second date and she said yes. And while I'm on the way to pick her up on the second date, and she didn't know anything about my background apart from me telling certain things, you can't put anything in 30 minutes. Somebody called me and asked me to step in as a speaker at this homeless shelter. And I was like, yeah, okay. And the picture, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And she said, no, I'd love to hear you. And all that stuff came out about stabbing my wife 3 times, about leaving kids, about dying in the streets, and all this stuff in my story. And she still stayed. That was crazy.
But yeah, so it's true. Like whenever like she can hear like your demons, they're like you see how you grew from that in the man you are now. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And then it cut the later job right back. What we should say today, if you ask them the same question about a relationship and what they're interested working, is that before she met me, she could never understand why I wanted to commit suicide, turning to alcoholism, having like a shot herself. But since we've been together, she has a full understanding why one would do that. We're talking about suicide for a second. Nobody yet who dies doesn't tell everybody that they commit suicide. It's the ones that say nothing. In this case, that was the case. It was good, honest, and crazy, but yeah. So it's the suicide and essentially depressed people that you see and not the guys brown in the face. They're not the guys that show depression. They're the guys that are smiley, are happy, a little bit louder. They rile everybody up. And it's amazing today. They're the guys, the comedians, the people that you think's okay. And then all of a sudden they don't miss it for a few days. Really important that we look for our friends doing that, because the depression's a killer. You know? And stems all sorts of side ailments from.
Yeah, it's so true. And essentially, like you mentioned, like the comedians being like the people that like are more likely. My husband is in the military, and he's had quite a few of his fellow army men commit suicide, and they were always like the life of the party. They were great guys, and some of the ones that have passed on were like you never saw it coming because they were like that party. They were all of it, and it was just like a blow to all of them. Like all of them, so it makes total sense. If you see someone that's always laughing them up, make sure you're still checking on them. Because
Yeah, I knew what happens and take it shorter than that. We said, Dr. Kids that's people in school, or the kid nobody speaks to, and you can go into school usually and look at the kids sitting down in the back, they haven't been minutes, makes fun of. That's the kid who's going to go on to do something crazy, because when we isolate a human being, let's simp that yours for a second. And look at somebody says you get wrong with this island, 90% of people in the channel and legal where you're saying. So you also think with kids like that, big student, isolate them for one, and then call nicknames, taking right against them, two, and the two line action that cause insanity. If you have friends out there, if back kids up back in the school, eating lunch and old, then no, it's not what I'm popular things to do, but go over and talk to them. You can change anything almost with that. That's the first step. Start dialogue. Anybody suffering most psych stuff, because it does help. If nobody wants to talk, you don't need a conversation with, oh, by the way, I'm depressive and manic depressive, I have PTSD, I'm like, you don't start conversations like that in any.
yeah,
So we talk and we stop letting down the iPhone, the social medias that we have, you can be on the live reform to that. 40 videos, and all of a sudden 2 hours is gone. By the way, guys, you ever want to waste 2 hours, jump on TikTok for 5 minutes, and 2 hours later you realize so the communication stops. There's no dialogue between human beings. That's the reason it's the net.
that is so true. Like the things are so isolating. Like I can see with my nephews because like they're in the high school areas and like all the things. Even whenever my nephew's with his girlfriend, they're still on their phone. Like they'd be like sitting right next to each other, but they're still just like individually just scrolling on videos, doing things like not even talking. So yeah, like definitely talking and will change everything. But I want to ask, like, whenever you got to the States and you started your like college preparations to become where you are now, what do you think was like your best or most transformative part in your career?
Very policy, explain it all.
So, out of all the places that you worked, because you've done numerous things, what part do you think helped transform you the most into the clinician that you are today?
Just watching on journey, two, the people around me, it's three, watching so many people suffer, so many people die. Yeah. We've done so much research on addiction and alcoholism, and the numbers are not recorded. So we did a trial. We're allowed to go in Richardson Hospital, just outside Dallas, Texas, to do some scientific research. And this is what we found on a Friday and Saturday night. So you tell me, Friday and Saturday, 90% of people coming through the door for any yards and jobs are alcohol in the bottom. Out of the 90% that come in, 16% were kept overnight. Is that bad? And out of the 6% died. Okay? Nobody mentioned alcohol and drugs. My dad's gone badge. Even if they knew they were planning to control it, it was kitchen fire. For the numbers that are being reported for, we get our own calculations and alcoholism, addiction, because more people on disease, cancer, all that stuff puts together. But they'll never know because ask yourself this and friends. Everybody knows somebody who suffers from alcohol or addiction. If you don't, it's probably you that we're talking to, because everybody knows somebody. And I've not met anybody yet and go, oh, I don't know anybody who's everybody knows somebody. It gives you an idea. Can you imagine saying that everybody knows somebody that's had a heart attack? That's not true. I don't. Millions of others that don't know anybody and let they speak to. So yeah, it really insane. So you need something that needs to come out and be attacked. For most people that jealous of me and hate me for whatever reason, carbon pay, call me like a crazy guy, but we're the guys that's what them go. We're the guys that was I put on. They're the guys that's what for the we're the guys, we're the guys. So we have a great pedigree in this industry. That's one of the biggest things to find people trying to start their own business, especially in the addiction industry. That's probably come from run. There's people that believe because they like to sit in the comfort of the old stuff. They don't like the neuroscience behind it. So I drink alcohol because I can't stop, and that's it. I go to AA meeting, everything be okay. People don't AA meeting first day in that drinking thing. You are not through the shot. You used to abuse alcohol, or you are a heavy drinker. This is a serious mental deficit that needs to be uncovered, discovered, and studied before the brain is impacted.
And so it's interesting, like you said before, about it being like in the going back to the fetuses, like in the genetics. And I fully 100% agree with that because epigenetics and all the things like have come so far in so many years. And it's just interesting too. It's like, even if like you have someone in your family that has alcoholism, like it can be like the addiction might not always be the same thing, right? Like it could be like you still have that tendency to something else. And like you kind of know, okay, so say like your grandfather was alcoholic, you might avoid alcohol, but then like, it could become like shopping or gambling or like some other form of addiction. So would you use the kind of like similar framework for those addictions as you would for alcoholism? Or would it be like a little bit different?
Addiction is a little bit different than alcoholism. So what many tend to know, education is the first thing if you have alcoholism in the family. Mom, dad, uncle, brother, mother, dad's brother or sister. So anything in your music lineage on the family, if there's alcoholism there, then my brother and sister are okay. Wasn't. So it's fifth generation. But a lot of people ask me when should we start talking to the children about alcoholism and addiction in the family. And my answer is 4 or 5 years old. We need to educate. And a lot of people visit education around that. So the addictions take off because addicts are looking for something else to get out of their head. Something to distance themselves away from reality. Without shoplifting or taking drugs, whereas alcoholics are slightly different. But basis on main term is exactly the same. So most of the illnesses tend to prosecute. So when I stop this, then I'm going to look for something here. And if I stop this, I'm going to look for something else here. Or break starts and potential finishers and stuff like that, because we're always chasing that missing piece. And the missing piece is 9 out of 10 times. So go back and look at the child that comes from Adam. Because everything we do to the child correlates to what we and how we act here. And everybody has childhood trauma. We're not talking child trust. I'm talking plain trust should be born. So it's talking about the real form of somebody did said or done something to you that was normalized back in the day. Mine was. And all of a sudden, this way I don't be born. That you gotta keep a job, keep a girlfriend, boyfriend. You can't be constantly happy in your life. Right. Next time.
Yeah, I fully agree with that 100%. And I tell people all the time, like just because like things are traumas, it doesn't have to be like the bigger traumas like an assault or like a car crash, like you said, or fire or like the military things. It can be the constant like just not getting your emotional needs met or being down degraded all the time. Like something like that can really pile it on and it just kind of all compiles. And it's not means the parents are at fault because they're the ones that did it, but also like it's not that's they know better themselves sometimes because they had their own troubles that they weren't resolved. It's the things that I found.
So, you know, like this, what I would like to say is there's no human book of raising children.
That's true.
Secondly, you raised and she was raised. So to go back generations were normalized and those were different days back then. That made them case. But our behavior and our learning patterns come from our parents or caregivers. So if they do something in a certain way, you will do the same as you grow up. So if you do eat the family and you eat fries, whatever I'm trying, you'll continue to do that behavior because they're allowed to teach. It's like when we're toddlers, they go to the kitchen, mom usually says, don't put your hand on the stove, it'll burn you. What does the kid do? Puts his hand on the stove and he burns it. What does the child at that age learn from whatever mom tells me is the truth? So that's how learned behavior. Once you go into the world, you realize like intelligence is not. But everything comes from a measurement of behavior. If mom was depressive all the time, there's a good chance of the child being depressed when she or he grows up. Because it's watching this all the time, not in a certain way and acting, and not laughing and just being out a bit or drinking every day. The child, especially taking drugs, the child don't want to mimic that behavior. That's what we do. You can trace all your traits back to early family.
I've been like those that like especially the not having a handbook. I've obviously been in this field for a long time and raising my two kids. Okay, I have to make sure I try to teach them all the emotional intelligence things and all these things, but also going against some of the cultural norms of my families. And like, no, I need to do it this way. It's like trying to break that pattern.
Yeah, that's it. You're kidding, Kiara. It depends. And nobody's to blame. I want to put that out there. Mums are not to blame. Dads are not to blame. Stop that. Was it my fault? It's a great question, but it's not. It really is because we bring our children up to a robot, like I said before. So whether they're addiction or anything that child gets into, it's not the parent's fault. It's the environment, maybe. Yes, this, that, but it's not the parent's fault. So if you're a parent that you've done something wrong, you shut. What was she to know was that your child that way you would talk. And some people pull out of that and say, we lived on the projects. My dad was always drinking and mom was always depressed. I want to chase that. But the patterns are very hard to go on. Let's look at a normal pattern. You don't even think it's a pattern. This is how complex it gets. You ever been on a bus, guys? You go down to the seaside, bunch of guys, have some drinks, act a fool, no one's whatever, get back on the bus, what seat you sit in the one in trouble then. Even to the point that you might say, hey, that's my seat. If somebody sits there, that's just a blatant, obvious pattern, but there are so many patterns in our life. And we do certain things in the morning, which I'll tell you before we go, to break that patterning up. Because the basal ganglia is our repetition, strengthening, this is some learning part of the brain. And whatever we do on a daily basis will become a working part of the mind. So if we're doing the same old stuff tomorrow, the next day, you get up, go to work, and you're miserable, you'll do the same again tomorrow. Unless you take steps to change the neural pathways, change the neuroplasticity, change the thought patterns, and change his behavior. Unless you really focus on that, you will repeat the same thing over and over again. No amount of therapy will help you. Healing always starts from the inside out. So any disease, any illness in the body, cancer, every bit, doing toxicity and depression. What are you replaced by? What am I interested in? That's it. And us. So the presence of oxygen equals lack of. Every disease in the human body starts in a toxic situation. You add the toxicity and you add the deficiency. What am I deficient in? And that will tell you when you listen. So 90% of stuff we buy from the supermarket, guys, is the body genetic method. So rancid oils, corn flour, rancid sunflower, canola oils. You just go into a store and pick one of them health bars up. 0 fat, 9 grams of protein. We did it on TV a few months ago. And they turn the package round and read through them 20 ingredients. It's crazy. So what happens is my body doesn't use the food source as it is. It has to methylate into a source that my body can use. Every single being is the same. Well, if we're eating stuff we cannot methylate, there becomes a deficiency in the body. The deficiency causes the heart problems, the cancers and stuff. But nobody's willing to listen to that because this food company rules the world.
Yeah.
And they guess. Pharmaceutical company rule the world and they keep us sick. You're not going to the doctor that was prescribing you. It's a lost client. You're a lost paid client. They don't want to know you. And this is the thing I've been against for 20 years in America is it's hard to get a message of me changing my pattern over to say, hey guys, look what I found when everybody's a day should burn that bullshit. But you've got to look, let's go to the extreme. McDonald's fries in England, and I'm American, guys. Listen now, I am not, I'm American. Now, McDonald's fries has 3 ingredients, maybe 4 ingredients in it, as opposed to 20 ingredients here. The other stuff we can't make. So when you go to the store, we have a restaurant, a British restaurant. We make our own bread. And after 3 days of that bread being out, it starts molding. Well, I got a loaf at home from the supermarket that's been in there for 3 weeks. There's no sign of mold. Why? All the chemicals in there to preserve it. And what we're doing is it's killing the sun and showing and nobody cares. Nobody, oh, it's okay, it's cheap. We'll go to McDonald's, it's cheap. Or go to this store, it's cheap. And I'm not expecting anybody to go and spend a fortune on food, but just be careful. There's always an alternative in a supermarket or something where the bread is cleaner than the one next to it. Simple as that.
That's so true. And it's interesting that you say that too about like doctors and stuff and like the pharmaceutical companies. I saw my PCP yesterday, actually. I told her that I've been working with a functional doctor, trying to work with making the body work naturally. And she's, I don't know if that really works, but it's really expensive. I'm like, it works. I feel better. Like I have been noticing changes in my body. It's slow going, but it's like I have all the health issues that I'm like clearing up and I'm doing it naturally. And like, yeah, okay, whatever. And it's, yeah.
We need to heal from the inside out. Everything we need to heal is from the inside out. Any medication that you take is poison and has an adverse effect in the body. If you're taking a pill on TV that tells you it's a depressant, it also works for back injuries, muscle, 20 things it works for, impossible. And then look at the side effects, death, liver cancer. It's impossible. And we have it all the time. So I ask people, have you ever been to the doctor with an ailment? They give you a pill to take. It's cured the ailment and you don't have to take the pill ever again. The answer is always no. It's no. And then talk about patterning. We had a lady the other day came in. Dr. Robb, I'm so depressed. I'm sorry to hear that. How long have you been depressed for? About 5 years now. Oh my goodness, 5 years? Yeah. Is it bad? It's really bad. You take anything for the depression? Yeah, I take Wellbutrin. How long have you taken the Wellbutrin? About 3 years. When the hell do you think it's going to kick in? So depressed when you're taking the medication that the doctor prescribed is doing nothing for you, but we keep taking it. Look up in the medical dictionary, the medical dictionary in the USA, and look what it says about depression. And the Oxford English, it says lack of serotonin. So why aren't we asking ourselves why my serotonin is low in the first place instead of running to a medical doctor that's going to put them on a pill for the rest of your life? I lost 153 pounds in the last 2 years, and I wasn't on any medication. I don't have headaches. I'm in the bed. I'll be 65 this year. I don't look 65. I certainly don't act 65. I don't buy all that. I see all my guys at 65. They're either dead or they're walking on crutches. I'm not doing that. It's the alternative side. Root causes is one of our tools that we work with. And they're showing cancer longevity.
Wow.
That's why through different stuff and just different stuff that you take over there. That's not. Now, there is some medication, heart disease and stuff. I personally talk about the psych stuff. Take medication and does it really help? My answer is no. No, it doesn't. I bet that 9 times out of 10, so we work with neuroscience and subliminal message. I reckon 9 out of 10 people out there that are not giving depressive meds, but they think they're taking some depression meds, get well within weeks. Because they think, placebo effect. I can convince somebody that their life is amazing, even if it's not. Because what we hear around us often enough, you start to believe. Like we never knew we were poor as kids. You got only played in the street. You got 2 pairs of shoes a year. You have no money, no vacations. We didn't know. You should go up and see the reality. I want people to go and see the reality of life and what you're actually doing and what you're capable of doing. Most people walk around 45 to 50% capability. Positive, this is behavior. Tell me go up on projects, you will go up on the projects. And if you do break through, you'll get a little private house somewhere and everything's good. But what about being a billionaire? What about creating a company that takes $5 million in? Oh, I just can't do it. Oh, somebody's told you that. So if you don't think you can change, if you don't think you can be successful, somebody's put that there. Human beings are not like that. Remember kids, we used to play soccer, kick a ball around the street. Johnny, what do you want to be? I want to be a footballer, I want to grow up. What about you, Billy? I want to be a doctor or a pilot. What happened to their dreams? I'll tell you, they were kicked out by family and friends. Don't be so stupid, Robert. You can't go to college like your brother. You're too stupid. Stuff like that. Launch childhood trauma that's embedded. So learned behavior is powerful. Rob, what experiment did you do to prove that? We went to the pet store, we bought 1,000 trees. And thought, crazy. They almost called please. And we took them all in this big mason jar. And we put the cap on and we promised to add the caps and it's going to green. We left it on for 3 days. Now, fleas can jump 3-4 feet. No. So after 3 days, we slid the cap off and left it on the side. Not one flea jumped higher than ledge, which was interesting. Okay. When they had babies in the jar, babies were jumping higher than where the cap was, making it insane. But it's learned behavior. And so if kids coming home now and you send them straight upstairs to baby for 6 hours after school, first of all, I'll show them what future I was. And second, there's no virtue. The children, obviously, the main spot is to come and there's no more. Okay, boards, iPads, it should be open. There's no age to see anyone, families, sitting down at a table and talking. It's all Facebook and TikTok.
It's so true. Like, it is definitely things have totally changed. And it's interesting, like you did with sleeves, because, and like, it all, even like with sleeves, that behavior was like noticeable where everything could, it was learned from like one generation and it went on even with an insect, which is so interesting. I would have never thought I'd do it with an insect. I've done it, like, I've heard people doing it with like rats and other animals, but like not an insect, which is so cool. What gave you that idea?
Oh, I'm always trying to come up with experiments. Some we've heard before, some we haven't, but we always do it ourselves. It's almost fascinating with learned behavior. How, let's say 9 people could change one person and get that one person to do something stupid that doesn't make sense. So back in Dallas in the early days, we got 9 to be hired from each of the waiting room, pretend they were patients. And we got one case that didn't know anything that was going on that we invited for a free whatever. So the stage was set. 9 exits, 1 patient, no anything, no exits. They were told every 30 to 45 seconds, a buzzer would go, and when it happened, everyone to stand up, down the train, and sit down. Stage is set. Just start up. Go to the phone. Glances up quickly back, sat down. 45 minutes like per second. All I had to start up. Now the girl puts the phone in my lap and she's looking at all these guys and they all sat down again. 3 buzzer. The 3 minutes in now, she stood up with everybody else. She sat down with it. As we call the actors in one by one, as if they were patient, she was the only one left in the waiting room. And she stood up. We did that in 2 minutes. We changed, because if you'd have said stand up every 10 seconds, no, why would I do that? But when people are around you, do it no matter what. Even if it doesn't make sense to learn behavior, your circle, show me your friend, I'll show you your future, you'll start acting like that for no reason. You don't know why, but the better part of the brain and the monkey see, monkey do mentality is that's how we act. And the idea is to look at your circle. There's only one person who wants to fail, by the way, guys. And if your circle isn't lifting you up every day and encourage you every single day, you need a new circle. Oh, you need validation. I don't need validation. But when's the last time somebody told somebody like me, you did an amazing job? They don't. Oh, doctor, he knows. Nobody knows. Stop that crap. We don't tell people anymore. So you've got to look at the people around you, because that's how you end up.
And you see it all the time too. Whenever kids are calling out the bad crowd in school, and
Yes.
for the good kid, like they start doing the bad things. And if they don't have someone to like notice, no, like you're going down a wrong path and pull them out, they get stuck in that cycle. And like it's interesting that you're able to do that with 2 minutes in that one little controlled study. And also we go back to like with Pavlov and his dog, like it started like then, but like it's obviously grown up more and it's gotten a lot more severe since that experiment. And it's so interesting.
Yeah. So we're big on research and stuff ourselves. So many things that we've done that we've heard ourselves or heard someone doing it, but then we try it ourselves. So we know that it's a fact rather than to practically see some truths and what not. But yeah, I'm always into research. I'm always looking at why do we behave this way? Why do we think this way? Why do we do this? We really have to go back into our mind because the mind runs the brain, mind over mass. So mind is energy, can't touch it, feel it, but it will program the mind over mass. Like mind was true and mother energy and your pathways and brains change from the DNA to, which means you broke away from all insurance, but uncover, discover the start of the start that's keeping you in that negative pattern. And there are thousands of them. I say, well, yeah, I fall into it. I get the same route from here to work. I come in, the assistant's ready with coffee, and my second assistant comes in and sit down with it. And so what we started doing many years ago was coming in at no cost. And all of a sudden we go walking outside, or we come in and we laugh, or we watch something on TV for 10 minutes. Always changing a certain dimension, don't get stuck in a look. Because the basal ganglia, if you can imagine what things, the more we do something, the more it comes working upward. So with normal people driving, learn how to drive. First of all, it's really hard, and all of a sudden, home, mom, way to go, friend dropping in, people 6 to 7 people driving the car or reversing down the Brighton. Pilot needs 10,000 hours in the air. This other kids fly a commercial jet. That's the basal gang. They become repetition strength. But that said, actually, whether that be good or bad. Now, the bad thing with both alcoholics and addicts is the basal ganglia is slightly broken. So if any alcoholics or anyone knows somebody, you'll get this. 4 things. 12 what? Everything's good. 10 after, I relapse. 20 after, I try and get back in with the wife and kids. Half past, everything's forgotten about, and you're back in the house, everything's good. 20 to the hour, I'll get that job or that break thing that's going to happen to me. 10 to the hour, get all up, I leave. Because we always have self-sabotage on the hip. So when you get a young kid in an alcoholic abuse family, where there's 4 or 5, 6-year-olds, he's down a couple times a week, coming home, shrunk, and him and mum get to a fist fight. Okay, where there's bruises. She sees this. They go to bed, mum and dad get them next morning, the kid comes in, and mum says, oh, I'm sorry about yesterday. Mum says, oh, I love you, I love you. And that kid needed violence and love. So when she leaves the house, supposed to connect with something, a primitive sensual attractive person that ends up being the same as where that. So fight becomes love, arguments become love. Drinking, it should probably attract that girl. To the extent that she does meet a good guy that treats her well, that's abnormal to her, and she will self-sabotage that relationship. And that's how the mind works. Unless, again, break that cycle, you're never going to make it to full potential. Because I would hate anybody to live to the age of 8, look back at your 20s and 40, you realize there was nobody watching, and you really could have done it if you wanted to do, because there's nothing you try to do. When I came to America, Americans just always say this, well, I can't because of the United States. Let's pick up the we have business coaching, what live experience was, and but the dance and currency. It's just not true. Again, it's almost put.
It is so true. So what I was saying, like for the to kind of break the cycle is the big game, like you always have to each day do something brand new, like that you wouldn't usually do on a normal day.
Yeah, we've got 3 things for the things that I'm going to give people to do. That if they'll truck with it and you believe in it, your life will change. That's it. It's like we overcomplicate everything. Like we have the answer to getting people clean, getting your life like living your life 100%, building this amazing thing, getting family, all that stuff. No, very little people want. They'd rather stick in the misery that they know. So, back in 1968, 69 in England, there was a young 50-year-old girl blue eyes, blonde hair, school uniform, but snatched up the side of her own insurance or card off they went. There was a huge mental fight. After 3 months, the parents come looking for her because she was busy back. 9 months later, police cars following another car down a country road in the end of that broken light. So they pull him over. Now, back in the day, they didn't have all the computers, so an easy way to find out if this is his car and say to drivers what's in the trunk. Oh, and they go, yellow jacket, pair of boots. The trunk, yeah, it's your car, drive KP, get that light fixed. That's what police used to do. On this occasion, they pulled him over and he was just not acting. So they opened the trunk and there was one Kiara, one stolen screwdriver in the trunk. And he said, back in the day, they used to tell it. Yeah, and see, we didn't have either. And the tag was missing. So now they were allowed to go back to the shadows and search one. And they searched the house for more stolen items. We know they found drills, they found ladders, found lawnmowers, and so somehow stolen. And there was about 40 items in his house that were stolen. As they're walking through the house, they see this huge box in the corner, about 4 foot wide and about 12 foot wide. And the police always said, we know you've got more stolen stuff. And said, I don't know anything about that. So they snuffed the lock off and he opened the box. And there was an ill and messing to be much. She was alive. He used to take her every day. He used to beat her and he might have and say, restaurant dead in that fucking box several times a day in that box. That ain't like that. So when he let over the girls there looking up, policewoman come over. She took this young girl's hand. She helped her step outside the box. Police coat on and she wraps it around the shield. Person who fell dead, not back in the box. And that's how online is that is pure and safe. No, she's done just horrendous things that became less safe. And that's you stay in jobs way too long, stay in relationships way too long, because you don't want to start again. You don't like if it doesn't work out. I don't want to step into what I don't know, so I'm going to stay in a certain beaten because I know this place. I know that I'm going to get beaten today. And it's insanity what it is, because you've been put in that box, like put in that box with mentally, that's your life, man. And very few people step out, step forward. Well, you know something? I don't like that box. I don't like this life. I don't like the married. I don't like, I'm not going every night to eggshells. I'm not going out scared in case it's my last day. If you have a relationship like that, get a new wife on. If you have a job that you hate by children, they get one to do. It's not that easy, Dr. Up. It is that easy. It really is. And ladies, watch out for this one. This is classic. When I'm trying to throw that wisdom. You'll never find anybody like me. Once. Repeat after me. Thank God for that. You don't need that in your life. So if you are in an abusive relationship or husband's drinking too much or getting violent, leave with the children. You can't take advice like leave with the children. I stabbed my wife 3 times one night because she wouldn't let me finish my button vodka. Do I look like the guy that would do that to the wife? No. But you're getting that zone, that addiction, that depressive, that suicidal. You don't know what's going to you need to protect kids. Just always talk to us. Always.
I 100%. I totally agree with that. I say it all the time too. Like if something's not right, some things you don't feel safe, leave with the kids. Don't ever leave the kids behind. Leave with them.
Any woman that ups her kitchen for a man is not with him or something puts children always first. Big sure essay, keep walking in the barn and say, don't sit in the shit dance. I don't care if it's now or life. What makes it like this? There are thousands and millions of people out there. If you choose to take them, get out there, you pay to do this. Everyone. Look at me, homelessness to here. Are you freaking like what? You know, people do the same. Nothing special about me. Believe me. Well, I didn't go to college, so college, countries, does not worth anything these days. Nothing these days. It's not worth money. It used to be. And you had to clean the college, you went for a job and you had a degree, and it's then you're going to get the job. If you want to be a hot surgeon, yes, obviously. But to come out with spend 6 years in school, you don't need that, guys, today as well. We prefer people without college. Smarter than anybody else we want. So there's nothing there stopping. And I'll say this, guys, You can't give me one reason why you prove success. You can't give me one reason why you can't step outside that relationship and make something of yourself. You can't give me one reason. However, but you give me a thousand excuses.
So true. What I say a lot with my clients too is this is always this way. I'm like, okay, and which hard do you want to pick? Do you want to pick the hard where you're stuck all the time and miserable? Or do you want to pick the hard where you do a little bit of work and things get better? Like which hard do people want to pick? I think it's hard in life. It just depends like what outcome do you want out of it? Do you want to be stuck and miserable or do you want to be work hard for a bit and be happy at the end of it?
And you don't want to, you said, it's your choice. It's lovely when we find it out against it. Most people have lost their identity, jobs, marriage, you see retired people all the time. It's for years and down. It's an identity, it's sovereign identity. Let's say the world was on this whole game on, right? What is your identity? If you don't know, you better stop finding this. You sound against and some young kids maybe say it's fun. Once you find that against, once you find out your work, you become a very dangerous, very dangerous. And it all generate. That's what it's about. So it's about, oh, it's Jimmy. He knows me. He knows. Hey, Jimmy, I'm starting my own practice for it. I'm going to do it. And as a therapist, I've just got license. How much should I charge? My answer is always the same. How much are you worth? So when we go to restaurants and the waiter serves us, it's great. And he brings the bill over. I say, hey, what am I writing on this tip line? Oh, I don't know. It's like 10%, 50%. How much are you worth? How much are you worth? And either the tears start or the silence starts. And you can see these people intern and just a waiter. You're going to college to become a doctor, or you're going to college to become a mechanic, or you're doing this to your kids. You ain't just a waiter. How much money are you freaking worth right now? And I will write whatever they say. 100? Perfect. All right, 100. No one's ever said more than 100, but yeah, man. If you're not lifting everyone up every single day, guys, if you're not trying to save a life every single day, go drip. So, and what are you saying to society? The people that recover from the stuff that we've gone through, guys, you're taking some action. My homelessness, my loss of children, I don't look that as if it's, oh my God, look at me. That was like a semester at Harvard University for me on phone, because I check off boxes and people can't. Now, at the third, everything comes back as after 30 years, we're in bed late at I'm a concierge doctor and 4 patients only in one. But when they message or whenever text me, I need to be acquainted with our definitely to happen. So 3 o'clock in the mornings, you have the phone, I looked at it in my daughter, because was calling Charlie. And she said, hey, Dad, she called me Dad. Hey, Dad, I just seen you on TV over in England. It was about time I need to see you and I've got something to show me. So we're on a plane within an hour max. Go to eat. We can stay around the corner, make a movie button. Next day, we walk around, I was crying, shit. I was living. And some of the companies, it's all in years of not being there in my hand. Got to the door, she opened the door. We hugged each other, we cried, we laughed, and sit back and probably 1 minute. And then she took me by my hand, and she walked me into her living room, and she handed me my 3-month-old grand. That one is my lead therapist in my business. Oh, so I don't care what losses and shortcomings. Start leading as a leader. All that stuff.
I mean, it was so true. Once you step into fully who you are and who you want to be, things come because like you're running for it. And you're open to it. You're open to the better things. I believe that wholeheartedly. And that has been amazing. Thank you so much. Is there any other tips that you want to leave everyone before we wrap up for today?
3 things to do tomorrow morning, guys, and this is a game changer. We only walk around 45 to 50% by a month. That's oxygen distance. We can go to the gym and train. It's not the weights. It's not the fight. It's this and the twins. I think you feel, but we don't believe it. Okay? What a purpose. Get up tomorrow morning, sit on the side of the bed, stand up, hold on to something, go busy. And I want to take 20 exaggerated breaths in the mouth. Do that. Actually, do that. Get it in, get it out. Do 20 of those. We're flooding the body, the brain, and every cell with oxygen. You'll go dizzy. waking everything up. Subconscious brain wakes us up. Most hypoxic situations during the night between 2 and 5 a.m. when our body's mostly prepped. It's also when without jumbles. So this is the bad thing. We need to get rid of this kind of unconscious thing. Oxygen and go into the bathroom. Let's change some patterning around. Let's create 300 neural pathways die every day. What are you? Let's change. Brush. One week by, one week by. We change persons, pathways. From the love, this die every day. Plus, next, I want to stand in front of the mirror. I want to stand, sleep right. I love you. I love you. Not get near the mirror. There's an optical loop. When we get near the mirror, makeup on and shaving gowns and try and do it, we'll see all our things. That's the what people see. When's the last time you met me up? It's, hey, Jenny, but look at that. But we stand still 6 feet away and our lens should disappear. That is how people see it. So the confidence grows. Why? Because you look beautiful from 6 feet one. That's how people see it. That's the way you got to think. You then 3 things tomorrow. Compliment 3 people to live in was from she was him. You're doing a great job. Change somebody's life. You like it too.
Amazing. And those are like, I'm going to start doing those tomorrow because those sound amazing. So thank you so much. Dr. Robb's links will be in the comments in the description below this video. Please reach out to him if you have any questions. And this has been amazing. Thank you all so much. And he has this book too to read.
Giving 10 copies away, guys, just for this show. Don't buy it on Amazon. Let Kiara know or me know on find messages. Hey, I saw you on the great podcast. I'll sign it. I'll ship it all free of charge to your doorstep. Just give it to somebody else when you finish. We have got 5,000 of these printed. Got about 150 left. No one's ever paid for a copy that I know. So don't buy it, guys. It's free 10 copies. Here we go. Let's do this.
Thank you so much, Dr. Robb. This has been amazing.
Thank you so much.